Assessment provides an opportunity for teachers to gather evidence about their students' achievement. The Clancy approach to assessment is that it should be student-centred, authentic, and foster critical and creative thinking. Clancy's approach to feedback is that it should be helpful, ongoing, and reciprocal in that it should also be used to inform teaching. The following is an example of an English assessment task set for Year 8, a task which blends assessment of, as, and for learning. Students completed a unit on gender and critical thinking. The focus was visual literacy, and their task was to compose a picture book which seeks to challenge gender stereotypes. The task was issued at the beginning of the unit, and students had 6 weeks to complete it. Within this time, a number of checkpoints were built in for the submission of drafts. One for the draft story, one for the storyboard plan, and the last of a 4-page mock-up of their picture book. These created opportunities for classroom teachers to provide feedback. All draft stories were uploaded to the Google Drive in a shared folder, and students completed peer assessments using PMI. This engaged the students in each other's stories and discussions about which stories effectively challenged stereotypes. Teachers also read each draft and offered feedback through comments in Google Docs. This ensured the feedback was personalised, authentic, and relevant for the student. This feedback was reciprocal. This assessment for learning allowed us to assess where students were at and then informed our teaching as the unit progressed. Did we need to revisit narrative structure, figurative language, or the application of visual techniques? Were students effectively conceptualising how manipulation of these devices affected meaning? Did we need further examples of text that resisted gender stereotypes, and could we model the analysis more effectively? Lessons and classroom tasks were engineered according to the feedback we received. 2 weeks later, the students completed a self-assessment of a 4-page mock-up of their picture book. Here, the students were their own assessors and were provided with an opportunity to determine what they knew and where they were going next. Throughout the unit, assessment for and as learning was ongoing. Students had the opportunity to ask questions and seek help throughout the unit in order to complete their final product. Teachers had knowledge of their students' achievement and level of understanding well before the task was submitted. Here are the students' own reflections on this process.
The first part was to create a draft of your story that would be checked by Miss, and then we had to create a storyboard that gives us ideas of what will actually go into our picture book, and then we had to start working on the final product, I guess.
They had different techniques that I could have used, that I could use in my picture book, and it helped me to think about what techniques I should put in my picture book to make it better.
Yeah, we had peers read our story and they gave out a PMI chart about how to improve our story, and during class when I was doing my book, Miss came around and gave me some ideas on how to change it. It helped me because I realised that my story was too mainstream, as it was a fairy tale and just the roles were swapped. So the princess, the damsel in distress was pretty much a prince in distress. So the advice that Miss gave me helped me change my story and figured out what photos to use to help encourage the idea of gender stereotypes or challenge the stereotypes.
And it helped because I could kind of adapt my story to what was to change it to become a bit more challenging with gender stereotypes and a bit more original.
But this week, I think I'm pretty confident that I've got this.